You surely woke up to the news, as I did this morning, of the Assad regime collapsing and Assad fleeing from Syria. What does all of this mean? This is a regime that in recent years has killed nearing, I think, about 1 million people. While the world is worried about what's going on in Gaza, that's what's been going on in Syria. Well, here we have the Prime Minister's comments, Prime Minister Netanyahu commenting from the Golan Heights, which border Syria, as to what Israel is currently dealing with. Let's listen to this and then I'll share my comments.
This is a historic day for the Middle East. The collapse of the Assad regime, the tyranny in Damascus, offers great opportunity, but also is fraught with significant dangers. This collapse is a direct result of our forceful action against Hezbollah and Iran, Assad's main supporters. It set off a chain reaction of all those who want to free themselves from this tyranny and its suppression. But it also means we have to take action against possible threats. One of them is the collapse of the Separation of Forces Agreement from 1974 between Israel and Syria. This agreement held for 50 years. Last night it collapsed. The Syrian army abandoned its positions. We gave the Israeli army the order to take over these positions to ensure that no hostile force embeds itself right next to the border of Israel. This is a temporary defensive position until a suitable arrangement is found. Equally, we send a hand of peace to all those beyond our border in Syria, to the Druze, to the Kurds, to the Christians, and to the Muslims who want to live in peace with Israel. We're going to follow events very carefully. If we can establish neighborly relations and a peaceful relations with the new forces emerging in Syria, that's our desire. But if we do not, we'll do whatever it takes to defend the state of Israel and the border of Israel.
The most important thing that we're seeing here is that is a strong prime minister who continues to be strong. Immediately it takes an aggressive action, which is an appropriate aggressive action that Israel needs to take. It means meaning taking charge of the situation to make sure Israel is not in danger and not being apologetic or in fear of what the world is going to say, but moving forward and being very clear that whoever wants to work with us, that'll be great. Whoever does not work with us, we will do everything in our power to dismantle them. But here's a critical piece that we need to pay very close attention to. As the Prime Minister stated, and we have to realize the truth of this, through the actions of Israel over the last year, it has severely weakened, especially in the recent months, has severely weakened Iran, who is the one funding and has been propping up Assad in the recent past. And that's the reason why Assad's regime has collapsed now, because Iran has become so weak. And so what we see is that when we actually take on evil and we begin to dismantle it, even if it's in one part of the world, evil throughout the world begins to get weaker and weaker because they are all one big alliance. And as we weaken one limb, the rest of the body begins to weaken. And they are not strong in the first place. So it just takes weakening a part of them, and then the entire entity of this evil starts weakening significantly. You may not have seen what has been posted in the news this morning as well, and that is Iran has dramatically accelerated its uranium enrichment. And why are they doing that? Because they are desperate. The only way they can have power is if they get nuclear power. And I pray that Israel at this time, when they are so weak, will do something to ensure that they will never be able to, in fact, get nuclear power, which would then, in fact, make them very dangerous. And if we look a little bit further, of course, this is a lot of speculation, but it would seem that this has very negative impact on Russia as well, who had, who was propping up Assad and Syria and was unsuccessful. And and they are, in fact, becoming weaker and weaker through the war and the, I think, 600,000 soldiers who have been injured or killed. Devastating. But we do need to continue to strongly advocate for one of the most moral voice in the world today, which is Israel, and the actions that they are taking, which is having worldwide enormously beneficial impact.